The technical analysis would say you take the cup and handle when it breaks through the handle, which it has at over $50, that you take the top of the cup in 1980, which was 50, the bottom of the cup, which was $4 in the 90s, and the difference is 46. You add it to the top, and that would say $96 would be the next technical resistance level, if any, or that would be the projected next place to go. And if you take a 42-to-1 ratio right now, or even call it 45-to-1, where it's averaged for the last 100 years, the silver to gold ratio, even though it's been coming out of the ground for 5,000 years, it's 16-to-1, and now it's 7-to-1, meaning it's depleting in nature. The price ratio, largely because of, in the Western world, gold's role as a monetary metal and silver's role in industry, it's average about 45-to-1. So you take gold today at 42.40 and divide by 45, and what do you get? 42.40 divided by 45 is $95. Well, isn't that interesting? That would be where it would tell you to go, where you take the top minus the bottom, which is 46, add it to the top, that would say $96. So, I mean, if you were to see silver at the end of the year at $96, it would not be crazy at all. And if you take 42.40 and divide by 7, it's going to be somewhere around $600. 605. As insane as that sounds, that would match the geologic footprint right now. So yeah, I think silver is the asset of a generation. And I want to always hammer it home. I'm not telling people to buy it to become wealthy. It is wealth. And the biggest money in the world is showing you that. The sovereign wealth funds and the central banks, who have now largely reclassified silver a critical mineral. The US government has, the EU did it in 2023, China did it, and they are restricting exports. And China, as we've said ad nauseum on your show, the second largest producer in the world, is flying to Peru and Mexico and buying doré and concentrate, paying twice what the rest of the world will, and ship it back to refine it. If they're the second largest producer, then why the hell are they doing that? Because it's worth far more than the currency used to buy it. The prices are wrong. They've never been allowed to reach full price discovery when you have the largest concentrated commodity, concentrated short position of any commodity of the 1,000 plus traded on COMEX for years. It just speaks to the why. Why would it be the largest short position in this tiny little commodity? It's not for these banks to make money, is it? Sure, they do, but is there something bigger behind it? And we've talked about that forever. So yeah, what we're witnessing right now is the inability of the players that have used the Western dominance, which is big checkbooks, big pockets of cash, to continue to suppress the price naked. It's now an existential threat. And you're seeing that. The rumor is the reason they stopped is there's one big trader who took possession and would not roll it over a stamp for cash delivery, perhaps an Asian trader who wanted over 400 million ounces of silver. Give it to me. And so, all of a sudden the cooling breaks down over Thanksgiving in one of the most thinly traded markets of all. So there's virtually no activity, but just those servers broke down. Right. So the point of it is that this signals, just like the LBMA said, sorry, it's not L plus or T plus 1, it's T plus 8 weeks. Right. We don't have enough manpower or trucks. The Western system is crumbling under their own narrative, and they are losing trust. And that ain't good when a system is completely built on trust and it starts to, as the water recedes, what's the old adage, you see.
Warren Buffett said when the tide goes out, you get to find out who was swimming without swimming trunks. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's going to be a grotesque picture before it's all said and done. And that's why I think you're seeing a different narrative unfold amongst these banks, that maybe the game is over, and survival would mean breaking ranks and covering and getting out. You see one of those European banks do that, and then the whole game just implodes as the price skyrockets and shorts get squeezed and they cover, pushing the price up higher. This is a big deal, and I think it's just beginning right now. Only 2 days, well, today's day 3, I don't have the numbers yet, but 2 days into the December delivery month, and there's already been 23,970 gold contracts that have stood for delivery. That's 2.397 million ounces, and plus 8,305 silver contracts, or 41,525,000 troy ounces issued and stopped so far, and the month has just started. It's also relevant to note that in November, which I would say was not normal, silver deliveries ended the month at just under 20 million ounces, about 19.7 million, which it's really crazy because November is not a scheduled delivery month for either silver or gold. There was 1,267,000 ounces of gold delivered. Issued and stopped is the correct terminology. But the first day, this month, the December contract, day one, we saw 7,330 contracts stand for delivery in silver, which is 36, almost 37 million. That's more than $2 billion worth. And although it's not a record, it's close to it. April was the biggest record of just under 12,000 contracts. But to see a 2-day, that's day one, and 2-day obviously added more, but it's just insanity. We've already been 2.4 million ounces of gold and almost 42 million ounces of silver delivered in 2 days. This is the same type of volume that we've seen all year long. And, it's funny, you and I started talking about this in 2020 before anyone did. And now it's just mainstream mainstream in our business. And I think this will continue until it doesn't, meaning until stuff is just depleted and it's becoming more and more obvious that this is an imminent deal. At the same time, you have one of, if not the largest short position in COMEX futures market, along with a massive short position in SLV, one of the largest ever. And at the time, you have the LBMA, which is running on fumes. And, it's a situation where the delivery via mechanisms are breaking down. Almost 90 million ounces have been delivered off of COMEX since October, since October 1st, 90 million. It's accelerating at a level that I don't think people understand or take for granted. And I think the way that you break that up is just to simply say that, let's make an analogy, right? For years, everyone pretended that, let's call it a cardboard box was full of cookies. There's a picture of a cookie on the outside. And the thing of it, and they would trade that. But now everyone is saying, no, I want the cookies. And people are realizing that the box is pretty much empty. And when that happens, this pretend cookie game, which you could call the derivatives, falls apart. And real cookies, gold and silver, become much more valuable. And that's why prices are rising. And why the dollar and other currencies may look weak when the truth comes out. So yeah, I think it's a big deal. There was a report that JP Morgan shifted its offices to Asia in the middle of the night, that they were told that the people had like 5 days to move their family and everything to Singapore. I believe that is false.
And if you want to understand why silver is not just participating in this trend, but is positioned to become the most explosive asset of this entire cycle, you need to look at the structural realities that most analysts refuse to acknowledge. Silver has been trapped artificially in a 50-year price box between $4 and $50. Meanwhile, copper, lead, nickel, zinc, and virtually every industrial metal on Earth has already escaped its multi-decade range. Copper quadrupled in 2006 to 2007. Lead quadrupled in 2007. Nickel did the same. But silver, the metal with more industrial applications than all of them combined, stayed stuck. That doesn't happen naturally. That happens because someone wants it stuck. You don't maintain the largest concentrated paper short in the entire global commodities complex if you aren't trying to achieve something. There is no more shorted commodity on Earth relative to its size than silver. You could line up 1,000 COMEX traded products and silver still wins the crown for the most aggressively capped. But suppression is a double-edged sword. And as I've said many times, the longer you hold a beach ball underwater, the more violently it explodes to the surface when you finally lose your grip. The banks have been sitting on this thing for decades. And now for the first time, they are losing control, not because retail investors are demanding physical, but because sovereign forces, the big money, are refusing to roll forward paper positions and are standing for delivery at levels the bullion banks never anticipated. The rumor, and it's a rumor I believe, is that one Asian entity demanded over 400 million ounces of silver for delivery rather than taking cash settlement. If that is true, this is the biggest challenge to Western price management I have ever seen. And it explains a lot. It explains the holiday trading outage. It explains LBMA lengthening settlement windows from T+2 to T+8 weeks. It explains why the US government suddenly declared silver a strategic mineral after decades of pretending it was irrelevant. The truth is simple. The world